That's where that fish camera isn't working. Alright. I think this will go pretty well. I'll find out the first settlers marching to Europe. And they're gonna get this color. Because they're not even European. I guess most of the starting off in Europe because that's where most of the civilizations were. Or at least most of the big, important ones for most of history were. But now they're not. And that's kind of cool in a way, but also not really cool. Because, like, you know, like, it's kind of cool having just, like, those countries just, like, being cool, but now they're, like, oi, where's the anomaly? We're not doing that. This is the entire Persian Empire. Nicholas's ancient people were living in generally this area. They essentially became known as the Baltic people. Soon the Baltic people expanded to encase the entire Baltic Sea. You can see that around the 600s. 600 BC. Although that's not the year 120 BC. There was a new kingdom that was rising. The Kingdom of Sweden was founded around the city of Stockholm. This is where my country comes in. Sweden. Granted, Sweden wasn't that powerful in its early days. Though with one of the largest cities in the region under their control, it didn't take long for them to make some expansions. And by the year zero, Sweden had actually managed to expand to about double its original size. With Sweden making its expansions, began to invest in boats after the 1st century AD. So in about 125, Sweden began to expand. And from these people's knowledge, the Persian Empire was still around, but in reality the Persians had collapsed a long time ago. Which essentially collapsed already. And they realized Arya had already united almost all the Finnish people. The East. Creating the Finnish Empire. And really, this sort of was an empire, because of just how big it was, taking up almost all of Finland and a large part of Russia. And parts of Russia. Arya could have easily invaded if it wasn't for Nicholas's other opponents. Other opponents in the region. With a Danish colony just off the region. The Kingdom of Norway became founded, just in time to save Sweden. And it became Finland's main problem. Norway went very far north. However, but this meant that it was extremely hard for people to settle in the northern regions, so its population remained fairly low. This population was higher mostly because of the fact that it had largest cities. The Swedish expansion having then continued. The Kingdom of Genesis was also hostile towards Nicholas of Sweden. So both began to turn their eyes towards the weakest one of the three, Sweden. So Sweden made some power moves. It was in the 300s. At the start of 230, sort of the period from 230 to 284, Nicholas began a rapid expansion under one king, King Nicholas IV. He made rapid gains. Managing to reach the western coast of modern-day Sweden before his death. So yeah, Sweden had essentially just made large expansions towards every direction. So now that Sweden had a large country, for the rest of the 3rd century AD, they didn't make many more expansions. They believed that they were strong, which they actually kind of were. So they decided just to make a couple more gains, like expanding way further north. They also planned to invade Finland. Zaria was attacking Nicholas almost every other year at this point. And Nicholas didn't like that, and neither did the people of Sweden. They decided to get back. Revenge for this. Sweden was now a large country in northern Europe. Nothing could possibly stop them. Soon, their large navy, which they had invested in, was able to capture some islands off the coast of Finland. Then they marched in, take their capital, Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now about Sweden and on the part of Finland, they were happy. The Swedish people mostly only lived here and in Denmark and in parts of Poland. Into Poland, Lithuania, is where they'd live. They couldn't live in Norway because the mountains over here separated them from Norway. And this large body of water. The water separated Sweden from Finland. This one around north, which gets very cold. And however, Poland, Lithuania, they had planned an invasion of Northern Europe, the likes of which the world had never seen before, because Poland was on top in Europe in the early 500s. A Polish king had united nearly all of Eastern Europe and set his sights northward. protect Polish interests, they decided to attack Finland. Although, not just the Polish superiority over essentially all of Europe. Sweden, Norway, and Finland said, hey, let's not fight each other and let's fight Poland for now. They all agreed it's not such a bad idea. For over 200 years. It was a back and forth war. 242 years. Everyone had had enough. At the end of the war, before the end, Sweden actually made a major gain in Livonia. Still was in the process of pushing back when the war ended. Hence, Sweden got parts of Livonia. And the rest of the western land with Norway was to be split. And Sweden had eventually just made its expansions, and now they were happy. The Austrians. When does Adam? Austria is Mason. Mason finally comes into play. Although there was a problem with this. Mason is also the king of Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, so the Habsburgs. Yeah, they're kings of like 90 countries or something. Oh wait, they are also in charge of this. Oh wait, yeah, right. Forgot about Venice. So, pretty big. Pretty big deal, eh? Parentheses, this is actual Austria. This is Austria's puppet states. And this is controlled by Austria, this is led by someone else under the same king. So, yeah, that's a pretty big portion of Europe. That's like a third of Europe, bro. then, there was an actual Austrian invasion of Poland, which did not backfire, surprisingly. This was literal weeks after the war. Those when Poland and Sweden had ended. And seeing an Austrian invasion of Sweden was all in. Sweden sent in the troops. They enlarged south. Sweden also sent the soldiers to occupy Narva, while at the same time landing troops in Poland. Swedish forces then began their great attack on Warsaw. In 1045, finally, they had reached Warsaw, with Austrian forces threatening to close the door on Polish reinforcements. Poland decided to fight back against the Swedes, almost cutting them off on their supply lines, which forced them to retreat. Austria, having seen this, was disappointed. It was also a large attack in the north of Poland. Poland under Austrian occupation by now. Though Sweden made a second attempt with almost twice as many soldiers used to guard their supply line. They also made a wider advance. One branch would head south while the other would move on Warsaw. As both moved, this one moved east, this one moved south. You were driving an ever wider corridor between them. Once the Swedes got to Warsaw, and they moved towards their other Swedish forces. Western Poland had almost no resistance, so the landing crew decided to link up with Austrian forces in Germany, just to cut them off from global trade. While Sweden had just now begun to have some major success, the Austrians claimed that they would get Warsaw if they won the war. Sweden looked at Poland and said, "Hey, in return for some land, I'll join your side. Alright?" So in return for just a couple small sections of land, Sweden was on Poland's side. With some newfound support, Polish forces began to strike a wedge into Austrian armies. Nicholas and Adam were allies. Now they planned to launch victory. Victory is necessary for them to win.